Okay, let's be honest. If the words group project send a shiver down your spine, you are definitely not alone. It's like a universal experience, right? That feeling of dread when you know your grade or your success depends on other people. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be a total nightmare? Today, we're going to break down exactly why we hate group work and, more importantly, how to actually make it work for you.
So let's dive right in. This feeling we all have, it's so common, it actually has a name. First up, we're diagnosing what researchers call the group hate epidemic. I mean, does this hit a little too close to home or what? This quote from a student just perfectly nails that sinking feeling. You know you could probably do better work all by yourself, but instead you're stuck juggling 3 other people's schedules and, let's just say, different work ethics. Yeah, that feeling is so real for so many of us. And here it is, the official term. Communication scholars saw this happening so often, they actually had to coin a term for it: group hate. So no, you're not just being cynical, it's a documented phenomenon. It's this vicious cycle, right? You have one bad experience, which makes you dread the next group project, and that attitude often leads to, you guessed it, another bad experience. So here is the most important thing I'm going to say today. Your frustration isn't a personal failing. It's not you, it's the process. See, most of us just get thrown into these groups and are expected to magically know how to collaborate. We're never really taught how. So the problem isn't usually the people, it's the lack of a good game plan. And that's exactly what we're going to fix by understanding the mechanics. Okay, so if we're going to fix the process, we have to understand how it's built in the first place. We need to look at the basic anatomy of a group. Think of it like a living organism. It has a structure and it has certain characteristics that decide whether it's going to thrive or completely fall apart. At its core, a good, functional group isn't just a random collection of people. No way. It needs 3 key ingredients. First, a common purpose. You're all climbing the same mountain. Second, mutual influence. What one person does affects everybody else. And third, a shared identity. That feeling of, we're in this together. If even one of those is missing, that's when things start to get shaky. Now, this is super interesting. The actual shape of your group can make or break its success. So on the left, you've got what's called a decentralized circle, where information just flows freely from person to person. And on the right, you see a centralized wheel, where pretty much everyone communicates through one person at the center. And this chart just brilliantly lays out the pros and cons. That centralized wheel, it's super fast and efficient. It's perfect for simple, straightforward tasks, where one person can just direct traffic. But that person in the middle can get totally overwhelmed and become a bottleneck. Now, the decentralized circle is definitely slower, but it is absolutely essential for solving complex problems, like, say, brainstorming a new creative project. That free flow of ideas between everyone leads to way more innovation. Knowing the difference helps you pick the right tool for the job. So, we've got the anatomy down, but it's not just about the bones of a group, it's also about how a group grows up. Groups aren't static things, they go through a totally predictable life cycle with their own stages of growth and development. Yep, researchers have actually mapped this out. There are 5 stages pretty much every group goes through. First, there's forming, which is that kind of awkward, overly polite getting to know you phase. Then comes storming, and that's where the conflict starts. After that, norming, when you start to figure out your rhythm. Then performing, when you're in the groove and doing great work. And finally, adjourning, when the project's over and you go your separate ways. The trick is just knowing this is the normal path. Okay, I really want to zoom in on this one stage, because storming is the one that freaks everybody out. This is when people start disagreeing about ideas or about who's in charge. But here's the secret. This conflict isn't just normal, it's necessary. It is essential. A group that skips the storming stage, that doesn't challenge each other, well, it will never do its best work. Healthy conflict is actually what makes a group stronger. So, a little conflict is good. But there's a line, right? When does it go from productive debate to just a mess? Now let's talk about surviving the trickiest parts of group dynamics and the single most dangerous disease that can infect even the friendliest of teams. I'd like you to meet groupthink. This thing is the silent killer of good ideas. It happens when everyone in the group is so focused on agreeing and getting along that nobody stops to ask the most important question. Wait a minute, is this actually a good idea? It's a total paradox because it happens most in groups that seem really friendly and cohesive. Everybody just nods along, and the whole group marches confidently off a cliff. So how do you fight it? This slide is basically your emergency toolkit. You have to actively encourage people to disagree. You can even assign one person to be the official devil's advocate. Their only job is to poke holes in every plan. My personal favorite tip here: have people submit their ideas before the discussion starts. This stops everyone from just latching onto the first idea that the most confident person says. These are real concrete steps you can take to make sure your group is making smart choices, not just easy ones. All right, we've diagnosed the problem, we've looked at the anatomy, and we've identified the biggest dangers. Now, for the best part, the prescription. Let's get into 3 practical, actionable tips you can use to fix your very next group project. First up, meet. Often. I know, scheduling is a nightmare and nobody wants more meetings. But hear me out on this one. Groups that just meet once to divvy up the work and then again at the end to staple it all together, they aren't real groups. Those frequent check-ins are where you build trust, solve problems early, and create real synergy. That's the magic where the final result is way better than anything one person could have done alone. Number 2, create a contract. This might feel a little formal or awkward at first, but trust me, it is a lifesaver. At your very first meeting, just agree on the rules of the road. What happens if someone's late? How are we going to make decisions? How do we give feedback? Putting this stuff in writing makes all those unspoken expectations crystal clear. That way, when a problem comes up later, you can just point to the contract you all agreed on. It totally depersonalizes the conflict. And tip number 3, and this one sounds small, but it is so powerful: establish a shared identity. And the easiest way to do that? Come up with a group name. Seriously, it might sound silly, but giving your team a name, the Marketing Mavericks, Team Apollo, whatever, it instantly creates a sense of us. It reinforces that you're a team all working toward the same goal, and that boosts performance like you wouldn't believe. So there you have it. We've gone from the misery of group hate all the way to a concrete action plan. We know that the group structure, its life cycle, and its dynamics all play a huge part. But, knowledge is only powerful if you actually use it. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Looking at everything from creating a contract to assigning a devil's advocate, what is the one single thing you'll do differently to make your next group experience a better one?